love and gratitude for all of you. It was so beautiful. I was just having conversation. We're always having a conversation with Jesus. We're just pretending like we're not. Because we're the light. And the light, it's just, it's communion. It's Holy Communion with the light, as the light, infinite light of being, which doesn't use the sounds that come out of our mouths to communicate. But for a time, it's helpful to hear that voice. So we're so used to thought and being involved in thought. And he's really helping me with seeing what's true. Infinite light. So there's like, Jesus, you're really helping me with supreme happiness. Will you help me with this? And he says, this is my only function. And you just get that well up of love, infinite love, reminder of what's true, infinite. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, what's infinite? Here already. Does infinite light have a to-do list? I could see that, with the play in consciousness, always focusing on the moving, never really go empty-handed to your God. The whole play is never to go empty-handed, always be full of ideas. A truckload. Yeah, that's a story of that Zen master, and his disciple comes to visit him. And he sits down, and the Zen master starts pouring tea, and the guy's just talking about all the things he wants, and the Zen master's just pouring that tea, and the cup is overflowing, and the guy is just going, what the heck? Do you see that cup's overflow? Jesus is reminding me, if our cup is full of all the ideas we have, we'll never be available to hear his voice. Because those sounds, and he was really showing me how much that replacement desire, the replace the kingdom of heaven with the idea that we have of that I have of who I am. For me, infinite light, to see where it denies, that itch to deny atonement. It's very humbling with Jesus. It's happy humbling, very humbling. Show me the desire to deny the atonement is available to me now. Jesus, is there any desire below my level of awareness to say no to the atonement? And just sitting with that energy releasing, that suppression of the desire to say no to infinite light. Even when we see in the light of divine being, it's not possible to get rid of the light. Marinate as the light, as Muji calls it, that's very helpful. But even so, even with marinating with the light, Jesus is saying it'll take a long time. He's about saving time. So he says, marinate as the light, lesson 44. Let me show you where you're trying to split the light and hide from the light. Through desire, the desire not to be it, not to be infinite. And the means given of joining with our brother. So beautiful. And he's starting to talk to me. He wanted me to talk today about starting to join with your brother as well as your decision making. Oh, ego doesn't want to do that. Like, I remember the first couple of times, why do I need to join? I know everything. It's really a symbol of that willingness to truly hear the voice through your brother and through yourself. You may get prompts from him through your brother that you wouldn't have conceived. Because the I, doesn't want to look outside of its comfort zone. It wants to create chaos and then say that there's comfort in it. So we can look gently, lovingly. Does the light, infinite light of being, so much love in this? As we turn our face, as we were talking about last night, Jesus goes, look over here. Look over here. Look here. I'll show you what's over here. I'll show you that. I can use Buddha. Buddha sitting over there. Look over there. That's you. Peaceful. Peaceful. Infinite. Unchanging light. All the love there is. Jesus, am I all the love there is? Ask him so he can whisper. You can hear it be cuddled by infinite. So lovingly cared for. I think Lena said that. It's so beautiful to hear these things from all of you beyond what I can express in these circles. Talking about how she knew she was surrounded by infinite love. God wouldn't have that any other way. So today we gather in holiness, and our holiness shining as the light together, all that is, and ask Jesus about lesson 309. So we get the lesson. That's all he says. One lesson, just get it fully. He was telling me, don't get in any arguments about which version of the course and which is better. And do you see, that's a play in consciousness. Is the light, infinite light of being, arguing over which version? It loves. It's love itself, infinite light, so much love. Cuddle, cuddle. Jesus said, don't argue. It will be given by him, which to look at, like at the right time, he would tell me, okay, look at this. There was a right time for me to look at the Earth text, but that doesn't mean it's for everyone. Do you see? So it's for me to listen to him, read what he tells me, then let him tell me about it. And then say it, what I'm learning. Because that's divine expression, to speak his words. That's what we're all doing. To collapse the idea that an infinite being can actually talk to something else, the horizontal communication this way. It denies communion with all that is all the time, full communication with God. You can ask him, ask the light. Do I need words to come out of my mouth to communicate with God? Yet he can use the body for love to just pour out through speaking those words of infinite. It's not what the words are, that's where they come from. We're so focused on the words meaning something, right? I give everything I see all the meaning it has for me. It's beyond the meaning of words. Is the light beyond the meaning of all words? Every word is the light so far beyond that. He's teaching us to communicate infinite, infinite with all that is, all the love that's here now. Thank you, Jesus. And he brings us to lesson 309. I will not fear to look within today. Oh my gosh. For me, that's the light circles are given in the joining sessions. And looking directly at desire as a way to fear not, to not dabble in fear, the untrue. Let's ask the light. I love it. It's so great to communicate with infinite light, that this is given by Jesus, because we're so used to communicating in thought that he gives us the power thoughts. I will not fear to look within today. He calls these higher order thoughts. They're thoughts that point back to divinity. See that thought, Jesus, ask him directly, need I fear to look within today? And hear his. He would not have it be so. Ask him, Jesus, would you have me be fearful to look within? Who is playing that little game? What's the one? Find the one that's playing the game of fear to look within. And see that the light has no fear about looking within. It doesn't have a within or without. Does the light have a within or a without? Does it have a little pocket of fear in there somewhere? Infinitely. We really want to see this carefully. Carefully. Because that's the play in consciousness. It's the hunt for fear to prove God is dead. Ask Jesus. He'll tell you. Jesus. Jesus, my Lord. I love him so much. But we need to have this relationship that it's light. He's not laying a ton of bricks on our back. That's the way we treat this whole thing of play of consciousness. Let your way be light. Let your yoke be light. To carry the load. Put it down. Give it to me. Let's ask the light. May we lay every trouble in the light. Then hear his answer. Thank you, Jesus. I will not fear to look today. This, he says, you must see past this. That you're a powerful, infinite being, and that you can. That's why so much love for Muji, because he always said, start from the light. And it was so congruent with Jesus teaching me, start with the light. He says it in a course. Once you get in the kerfuffle of fear, too late. It's not too late, because you'll start to notice even when fear is here, you can still listen to him. That's what he's training us in, light training with the Joker movie and Hacksaw Ridge, me, and reminding me. Volcanic eruption, you can hear me. I'm you. Can you abandon yourself as light? Does the light run When it watches the news, it just doesn't. He keeps reminding me, really notice what teachers you're listening to. Really be guided by him, what teachers to listen to. Are you just really want to listen to him, your inner teacher. Everything can be used in consciousness. He's reminding me about the play in consciousness to take everything he says and turn it around. And the favorite line of the ego is this one: you can't get it wrong. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, see, when you come from the place of light, you know it. You can't get it wrong. See that in the light, you can't get it wrong. But see also that in the play of consciousness, that same sentence is used by the ego to justify weakness. To justify saying no to ourselves as divine being because, well, you know, you can't get it wrong. And how it gets tossed, it's a toss away. You can ask him, Jesus, does that get to be a toss away? Well, I can't get it wrong, you know. So just see with him the misuse of the course. Like he says, the ego can twist anything. You can go to seemingly the most holiest thing because of the idea the ego has, and it will be a distraction from deep looking. It's actually fear rather than guidance. So we really ask him, Jesus, do we need you even show us what fear is? We don't even know all the diversity of how fear appears, and anger and rage. The ego puts certain labels. Rage looks like someone screaming maniac. Apathy is rage. Not following the Holy Spirit, rage. Self-denial. That kind of pretending to be nice. That was definitely here. Like if I'm really nice, I'm spiritual. Jesus said, I would save you that time. This consciousness is so into the play, it doesn't even know where fear is, how insidious that play is of fear, how deep that itch for the experience of protecting from looking, like he says, I will not fear to look within today. Denial of joining with a brother is one of the first signs. Like if you get a prompt and you ask yourself, am I willing to join with the brother, the one right next to me on this? And you just no, you can hear the no. See, that's how you know it's not a prompt. That's how you know you're siding with weakness. See, your brother will hear it with you and rejoice with you. Or in the play of consciousness, it will start to go out and hunt for the reflections that will agree. Very insidiously tricky here. It'll go because we're so powerful. Our minds are so powerful. We can miscreate characters that are going to agree we're doing the right thing. That's why it's helpful to join with a brother to hear Jesus together. So the ego can't, its lack of content. But really, we need to join with the brothers he tells us. Because otherwise, because of the play in consciousness, we'll have ourselves be sent on rat races all over. Ask Jesus. He'll tell you. That's why he's saying, ask me. Ask me which teachers to go see. Ask me which books, which exact things to put your mind on, and which ones not to. Do I need to put my mind on that? No, that's not your function. When we're that open, he'll be that direct. And it's the level of gratitude, because he was teaching me so many things. I could see the habit of walking down a street and hunting for something to buy. Do I need that? Do I need this? And like the mind was just full of shopping. But it's great because he's reminding me now, it's not just shopping for things. The ego's always shopping for the note of divinity. Ask Jesus. Is the ego always shopping for note of divinity? Yes, Jesus. Within me is eternal innocence, because it's God's will that it be there forever and ever. Okay, let's look in the light and see it for ourselves, because it's here, it's us. In the light of divine being is their eternal innocence. He says, rest your head there. Put your holy head right in innocence, like right at my feet. Okay. Lamb of God, who take away the sins of the world, that shows no sins exist. And take my hand and see you have no fear. He's reminding me again, I must need to see it. Here it is. Mm-hmm. Though I walk through the shadow of the valley of death, I will fear no evil. So let's just walk through the valley of death as the light beings. Take a little walk, hold Jesus' hand. The worst thoughts of death, and just hold Jesus' hand. See if the light is intimidated in one iota by any thought, by any memory, by any feeling. Is the light running from that infinite light of being that we share? Is this team running from it together? I don't think so. That's why we have the power group coming in. That's why we have all these multi-dimensional Jesuses coming. Like magnets to each other. Like, see if anything intimidates this power of light that's been brought together by the one who knows. Can any fear stand before this? This power, this might, the might of the one. So let's just look with him. So he's basically saying fear is a denial of innocence. Let's ask him. We'll get curious. Is fear a denial of innocence? Okay, I admit it. Jesus, do I have a desire? Is there a desire below my level of awareness to experience fear to deny my innocence? And just look. Okay. And if he says yes, all right, admit it. Is there anything? Are we ready for a miracle? He's saying more to see. So you can start hearing them. We can start hearing them together and feeling it, that there's something else to see around this. Okay. And then will you show me? He says, show how much you do not want infinite love. Okay. Jesus, is there a desire not to have an experience of infinite love? That you want to push it away. Okay, let's just admit it. He says, just admit that. And see that in the play of consciousness, unless you really look how much you want to deny the miracle, it can never be yours, because it's always yours to have a miracle. Miracles are your divine, but you want to have control over miracles. So Jesus, will you show me where I want to control miracles? He says, every time you ask me, I'll show you where you're trying to consciously control miracles. Look again. He says, look again with me as light, the light of infinite being, infinite, to see innocence. See that it's God's will that the light is forever and ever. Is it God's will that the light of infinite being is forever and ever? Now take any concept you have, and I'll show it to you if you ask me, he's saying. Oh, Jesus, show me the concept of fear, that fear is real. And he says, place that whole concept in the light of divine being and see what happens to it. Does that concept coexist in divine light? Jesus, will you show me any concept about myself that I am not powerful enough to put everything and see everything in this light of divine being? Will you show it to me so I can place it in the light of divine being, that concept that I'm not powerful enough? Please show it to me, and I want to put it and see what happens to it in the light, the concept that I'm not powerful enough. Can that concept that I'm not powerful enough coexist in infinite light? I, his son, whose will is limitless as is his own, can will no change in this. Even if we want to, with every fiber of being, can we change that light? All the wanting, the wishing, the cherishing, does it change infinite light? Does it change peace? That's the light is just peace. Does the light know anything other than peace? Jesus, do I have a desire to cherish fear? And just admit it. If he shows you that, just admit it. To desire an experience of cherishing fear over infinite light. Please show me. I'm willing. So when we stay with the wish and the cherish, see that the fear is after cherishing it. Ask Jesus so you can know it. Is fear an appearance after cherishing it? See? He'll smoke, it smokes you. But we can look with the light because we're powerful. Okay. Here's a deep one. So much love in this, though, will be energetic release here. Jesus, will you show me how much I really find pleasure in fear? In the light of divine being, do I find pleasure in fear? And hear the answer. I'm willing to see it with you. See, if we don't admit that we desire fear, he can't help us. Because we're withholding the desire for it from ourselves. He can show us the desire for it. That's why he says, once you're involved in fear, it's hard for me to help you. You're still powerful enough to get off the train, he says. Ask him, am I powerful even when fear is appearing to step off the train? See how powerful we are. Is the light subject? Is the light going, man, when that fear appears, I can't get out of it? See what the light says. So we can see that's a play within consciousness to stay on the fear train and be weak. See, that's how consciousness plays. It goes, I'm too weak to step off this train. Ask Jesus to show that. So when we admit, oh my gosh, I really like that fear train. I like to take the ride. It's like, wow, I love going to that amusement park and getting on that, the highest of the high roller coaster and scream my way down. Jesus, do I like that play in consciousness? Wow, it's like, okay, yeah. Will you help me see this with the light of truth? He says, this is the most direct means. Ask me. This is direct, to look directly at the underbelly of the decision. See, he's looking at the underbelly, right at the decision. See, it's the admission that's the easy part. It's the denial that hurts. You can ask him. Does the denial hurt, or just admitting that I'm denying? See, that's the release from fear. Admitting, all right, yeah, I have the power to miscreate this, misuse of creative power. Just ask him, Jesus, is it is fear a misuse of creative power? Is it a choice to misuse creative power? I'll tell you. Okay. Will you help me through to release that? Show me how to release that from my holy mind. He says, choose holiness first, because it is you. See that no fear binds you unless you choose it to. Ask him, can fear bind me without me choosing it? So it's the choice to feel bound. see that the light is boundless. Is the light boundless?
Mhm.
See how much power comes from admission. It's always here, but it's acceptance of honesty of God. Oh, I admit I want that thing. You're right, Jesus. It feels like sometimes when I'm working with them and the desires, it's like every single cell wants it. It's like, oh, Jesus, like, oh, I want that. But at least we're with the wanting, see, and it transmutes it. We admit it. See, we're admitting the denials rather than denying the denials. And see the power. Ask him how powerful that is. He says it's acceptance of divinity is what that is. Ceasing to deny the denials. Now you're in his playfield, the playfield of infinite. I, his son, whose will is limitless. Let's look at limitlessness in the light of divine being. Is the light in divine being have a limit, an edge? See that the light, which we can always recognize, is limitless, infinite. And notice what happens when your mind is resting as light. We rest as light rather than play the consciousness, focus, seeking, play. Just notice how you feel. Notice how you feel as the desire is clear and you ask for a miracle. Notice that opening. We call it an opening, yet what it truly is the falling away of the untrue. See, ego will turn that around and go, I'm opening. No, it's falling away of what's untrue. It's really helpful to use Jesus's terms on these things, because the ego will turn it around in such a way that it looks like the light comes and goes. It's so helpful to see the light does not come and go. What comes and goes is the desire to say no to light. His son, whose will is limitless. So when we look at the limitless nature of the light, in the light, can a will apart from the Father be known? Can we find that in infinite? And when the dial's on infinite, it seems like the dial goes to infinite. What happens is we're always infinite and we turn the dial to limit. Ask Jesus. Is that so funny when he tells you, yep. Okay. So do not change the channel. Those are not good channels out there. Okay. Yes, Jesus. I, his son, whose will is limitless as his own. So we're seeing in the light the same will. Is there an extra will in there? Let's check. See, there's no extra will in it. This is why it's a happy dream, because you're laughing at that attempt to try and make God's will limited instead of crying. That's why you start laughing every time he says you're wrong. Okay. You see how futile it is to say no to light. I, his son, whose will is limitless as his own, can will no change in this. Go back to the light. Can I will the light to be something that it is not? Notice, in the infinite light of being, no matter how hard, how much fear, how much unhappiness, does a light give in? The light's going, oh, it's okay. You can be limited for a day. No. The light never, it's all right to be limited. No, the light cannot agree with us. It is. For to deny my Father's will is to deny my own. So now we have the contrast. To deny the light is here, is to deny our own will for happiness. Can we find a way in the light to truly deny the will of God, if even in the play of consciousness? That's when you finally say, okay, I better need to start looking at all these denials with Jesus, because I can see I really don't want to be the light at all. It's like, no light, hold it back. But you can't hold it back because it's here. It's like too late. You're already light. No, Jesus, I don't want to talk to you, Jesus. Light is the light here. That's why he's using the light symbol, because the ego can't get its little fingers around the light quite so well. It can conceptualize, it can conceptualize anything. But love is so concepted. Yeah. Yes, Jesus, do I have a concept below my level of awareness of what love is? That's a good one. Take that little chunk of concept about what love is, all the feelings and the thoughts and the emotions about the chunk, concept, love, that love is limited, and just see what happens to it when you take that whole chunk and you just place it in infinite light within. See how well it does in there. Any remnants, Jesus? I'm giving them over. Oh, look. And see that they can't, any chunk of fear, any chunk of Joker movie. Take the whole Joker movie, any ideas you have about it, the whole thing, and just take that whole idea about the Joker being horrific or whatever the ideas are that play, and take that whole thing. Jesus says, he told me, look, you can back up a truckload of this stuff to me and give it to me. So let's just do it. Take the whole Joker movie, all the ideas and concepts, and place that in the light and see how it does in there. Is the light running from that? What happens in the light? The only thing that can happen in light is infinite, to show that nothing happens to change the Son of God. For to deny my Father's will is to deny my own. To look within is but to find my will as God created it. So we'll look in again. Is the light as God created it? So all Jesus is going to show you is that you're light. That infinite, unchanging, untouched by time, space, death. That you have no other dial than infinite. No buttons. I love that. Ego says, my buttons are pushed. See if the light has any buttons in it. Does infinite light have a button in there? See how it's a play. It's an innocent play. And you can ask them. Well, let's ask them about that Joker movie that's coming up. If you haven't seen it yet. Jesus, can I look at that movie with you in perfect innocence? In perfect revelation. In perfect joy. He says, if you choose to, if you choose otherwise, see the choice. The choice to deny innocence is here. The light's here. Giving the light the boot, as we say. To look within is but to find my will as God created it and as it is. So he's saying, when you look with me at those desires, you can see it'll go under the fear. You can always play in consciousness to try to play in fear, because that's what consciousness does so well. It's very practiced at fear. Ask Jesus, Jesus, am I really practiced at practicing fear and expressing fear? Because that's what we practice, the currency of fear. He's teaching us a new currency, the currency of infinite. To look within is but to find my will as God created it as it is. I fear to look within because I think I made another will that is not true and made it real. It's helpful to see it's impossible to make another will other than light. Does the light have another will in there? Is the light going, shaking its finger and going, okay, you made another will, now you're going to hell. Now and it's funny in one hand, but when it's believed, it will hurt. If Jesus, here we go, let's ask him. Do I believe I made another will? Do I have a desire to believe? See, a desire to believe that I can make another will. A desire for an experience of another will. Okay. Will you show me that? Okay. Can I ask for a miracle for that? And hear the angels sing. That is not true. Is any other will than God's will untrue? Ask him. Ask Jesus. So you can hear that thing sing in your heart. Is there any way possible in the light of divine being to make a will other than God's will? Jesus, am I ready to see that even though I think I made another will, that it's not real? It can't be real. It's impossible. Am I willing to see that? If he tells you no, then look with him. Am I willing to see I cannot make another will other than yours? Even if I try, I cannot make a will apart from the light. He says in this, when you admit this, you will not be afraid. You can't be afraid when you see that you're innocent of what you think you did. Jesus, am I innocent of what I think I did? He said, I'll tell you that, but you won't believe me. Because you want to play in that other will. But I will help you with it to see it's so unnecessary to be concerned about this. So unnecessary to be concerned that you've done something. It's just the play not to look with me, he says. It's just a play in consciousness not to look with me, to see nothing happened. Yet it has no effects. Jesus, in the light of divine being and honesty of God, does the play of me pretending I have another will have any true effects on the Son of God in the light? Does the light see any effects of anything? Is cause separate from effect in the light of divine being? See that everything's one. Is there any extras, any other in light of divine being? Is it decorated with anything? Within me is the holiness of God. See that in the light within you is the light within. Here you hear Jesus's answer. And in this light is the holiness of God. Within me is the memory of him. So even if we want to, with every bit of will, every bit of cherish, every bit of pleasure, every bit of pain, can we obscure the light? The memory of God. The step I take today, my Father, is my sure release from idle dreams of sin. Your altar stands serene and undefiled. See that in the light you stand undefiled. It is the holy altar to myself with a capital S, where I find my true identity. Jesus is my true identity light. Infinite, unchanging light. Amen. Bye from Buddha. That's see that no wrinkled forehead, no wrinkles. That's for us. Love you.